Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or even good tomorrow, whatever it is where you are. Today, I'm going to share a couple of simple stories, and that many of you may have heard, but maybe you'll hear something a little bit different today, and it'll register in your mind. The first one is the elephant's rope, and the second one is about Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile. First, let's talk about the elephant's rope. Deep in the jungles of India grow giant banyan trees, and these are some of the strongest trees anywhere. They can withstand hurricanes, typhoons, etc. Now, the people of that country train elephants to do much work, just like others use horses and mules for all kind of pulling things. And the first part of the elephant's training is teaching them not to run away. So they tie a baby elephant to one of those banyan trees with a rope. Now, try as they will as they grow up, they can't pull free. And at some point, they realize that pulling on that rope is futile, so they're conditioned to believe they cannot break away. Remember that word, conditioned. The people then begin to tie the rope to a stake in the ground, which the elephant could easily pull loose and run free. But they don't remember because they're conditioned to believe they couldn't. They were conditioned to believe that pulling against the rope that held them would not allow them to break free, and so they're stuck right where they are. The elephants can then be moved from place to place, and the handlers simply hammer a stake in the ground. They tie the elephant to it with a rope, and the elephants are stuck there, conditioned, never knowing that with a small tug they could break loose and be free. See, like the elephants, many of us go through the hanging on to a belief that we cannot do something simply because we failed at it once or we've been told we can't. Remember? Conditioned. How many times have you been told as a kid, maybe, you can't do that, you'll hurt yourself? Now, maybe your parents were just trying to be good parents. They were trying to protect you from an accident. Sometimes it might have to do with something preventing you from a heartbreak or something that would hurt your feelings. But we humans learn from doing. It's like working in your yard, for example. You go out in the early spring, you grab some gardening tools and go to work. Before you know it, you have a blister or two on your hands, so you stop. You go inside and doctor yourself. Sometimes it's very painful, so you decided not to go out the next day. And maybe not the next day either, and you're slowly conditioning yourself, much like those baby elephants. That's why exercise gyms make so much money from monthly memberships. The customers sign a 1-year contract. They work out too hard the first time out. They wake up sore the next morning, so they decided not to go the next day. And maybe the next day or the next day, and you are slowly conditioning yourself, much like those baby elephants. Now, here's the deal. You push through the pain of the blisters on your hands until you develop calluses on your hands, and you push through the soreness of working out. And you keep on going until it becomes easier and easier. See, failure, pain, that's a part of learning. We should never give up the struggle in life. Many times you're told you can't do it simply because it's never been done before, and sometimes you believe it after you hear it time and time again, and you're slowly conditioning yourself, much like those baby elephants. Which leads to the second part of my story. Up until 1954, most people thought running a 4-minute mile was impossible to break. They thought the human body couldn't physically go that fast, that it would collapse under the pressure. No one could run a mile in less than 4 minutes. It was impossible. You were even crazy to try. Conditioning, remember? That was until Sir Roger Bannister of England proved everyone wrong, training in his own way, often for not very long compared to his competitors, but believing he could do it. See, Roger Bannister was born in Middlesex, England on March 23rd, 1929. His parents couldn't afford to send him to school, so he ran away. He ran his way in. See, Bannister won a track scholarship to Oxford, where he studied medicine and was a running sensation. He caused a furor in England when he declined to run the 1,500 meters in the 1948 London Olympics so he could concentrate on his medical studies. He did run in the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki, but finished fourth. Again, the British press scorned him, conditioning him. He then resolved to break track and field's most famous barrier, the 4-minute mile, a feat many believed to be impossible. Bannister had limited time to train, as he was enrolled at St. Mary's Hospital Medical School. He would run 30 minutes most days, focusing the rest of his time on the study of neurology. On May the 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister was running for the Amateur Athletic Association in Oxford against runners from the university in their annual match. He ran with two friends who paced him, and they sprinted the last 200 yards for a record time of 3 minutes, 59 and 4/10 seconds. He had done it. He had broken the world record. He had done what so many people believed was impossible. He'd made history. Later that month, Australian John Landy broke Bannister's record by less than a second. The two were then made out to be rivals. In August, Bannister and Landy met face to face at the British Empire Games in Vancouver, British Columbia, where 35,000 spectators watched what was billed as the mile of the century. Landry led Bannister in the entire race, but Bannister outsprinted Landy down the straightaway to win by 5 yards and less than a second, 33.58.8 to 3.59.6. Their two times were the third and fourth recorded miles run in under 4 minutes in history. See, Roger Bannister opened the door for others to do the impossible as well. Within a few months more and more people broke through the 4-minute mark once they realized it was possible. We had been conditioned to believe that it was an impossible feat. See, once Roger Bannister proved it was possible to run a mile in under 4 minutes, suddenly everyone was able to do it, proving an important lesson. Once you stop believing something is impossible, you'll find it becomes it's possible. So the next time someone tries to condition you, to make you believe that the baby elephant, that you can't do it, let them know how wrong they are. And in the words of Mr. Art Williams, my mentor, just do it and do it and do it and do it and do it until you prove them all wrong. And I look forward to seeing you all in the winner's circle. This call is officially over. Thanks for stopping by.